Okay, we're going to try this again. This is the transfer of consciousness at the time of death. Welcome to Kunzangpayo Chongling. This is the part 8, the last part of Jetsunma's series on the transfer of consciousness. And I am dreadfully sorry to have started with a different one. But we start this one now and hope you enjoy.
It is only appropriate, only beneficial, if during the time, at the time of death, you are facing and realistically knowing that life, the physical life as you have known it, is complete, that there is no more time. And since that event is complete, then at that time you are prepared and you should be thinking of going on a trip like that. Do you know how, have you ever had the experience of going on an extensive trip, or at least a very important trip, something that you have planned for and looked forward toward for a great length of time? Say a trip to Hawaii or some kind of big, something that's really special. I know it happens to me when I go for 2 weeks to the beach, every year if I can. And I make it my business to be able to do this every year, because I look forward to that beach. Boy, that to me that's 2 weeks in Dewa Chen, I love the beach. And so I get ready for my beach, and I've noticed that, right before I leave from my beach vacation, for 2 or 3 days behind that, I am already gone. I don't know why my body doesn't have any sand on it, or why there's no salt water in my hair, because I am at the beach. And that basically there is this feeling that you're so into it, you're so acutely aware of it, you're so prepared for it, that you can hardly be bothered with the circumstances of your current life. And if you're going to the beach, let's say with your family, you're talking excitedly with your family, but you can't be bothered with anybody else. They don't have anything to say to you because you're going to the beach. And you're thinking about the beach, and you're thinking of clothes that go to the beach, and you're thinking of your bathing suit, and you're thinking of your what is that, boogie board, and you've got your all your toys and all that kind of stuff, and it's all you can think about is I get my nails done quick before I go to the beach, because I'm going to have sun on my nails pretty soon. And you're just thinking like that. You're just really thinking like that, and you can hardly concentrate on your present day life. And that way that you turn your face from the things that are still important to you, because you have a job, right? But you're leaving that job in 3. And right before you go to your beach vacation, does that job mean much to you? No. It becomes very much less important. You have this trick of forgetting that you're ever going to come back there again, so you rush and just leave everything, I don't care how it is, put it away, I'm going to the beach. And that's kind of how you are. That attitude, believe it or not, is very appropriate at the time of your death. Because you're going on an experience. You're going to experience something that is profound, filled with opportunity, and it will be filled with a mixture of very dynamic experiences. For the person who is prepared and who is preparing, to the degree that they prepare, this will be an exciting event. This can be an exciting event. It is, for the good practitioner, something to look forward to, an opportunity that you do not have in life. There's no way you can get that in life. There's no way that you can, as you are now, meditating the way you are now, cause your elements to dissolve sufficiently to be able to give rise to the natural Dharma Dhatu in your mind. Ain't no way. So you're going to have this opportunity for the first time. The peaceful deities are going to appear to you in all their splendor. Finally, you get to spend some time alone with your guru, if you remember to call her. Without all those other people. Also, you get to, you can see the wrathful deities in all their drama and splendor. And this is something that a trained practitioner would be looking forward to. This is a time of rejoicing and looking forward to. And so the proper and appropriate and beneficial attitude is at the time of death to feel comfortable with what you are leaving. And the way that you would feel comfortable with what you are leaving is to say goodbye properly. Spend the time with the family, spend the time with the friends. In order to complete certain elements of the relationship, do say goodbye nicely so that your relationship with them is full and complete, like a glass of milk filled all the way to the top. Do the best that you can. If in your life you have wronged anyone, take the time to make restitution. You should do that as you're getting older anyway. Take the time to make restitution. Try to make everything right. Try to complete all of your tasks in that way. And as the time draws even closer, once you have made that effort, whether or not you have completed that effort, when the time comes really close, you must turn your face away from worldly concerns, or you will be inhibited in the bardo. So you must relax your mind into the expectation and joyous view that liberation is at hand. And so you take your mind and you begin to move it down the chute of expecting and waiting joyfully and devotedly upon liberation. A sense of joyous and gentle expectancy is the best way to die. A sense of knowing and having confidence that those elements that are appropriate and beneficial to awaken to, with which one would awaken to liberation, to the unfolding or the awareness of one's true primordial wisdom nature, that for once, instead of having to struggle for them, all of those elements are going to be there. They're going to be easily acceptable and handed to you on a silver platter. Now, this isn't true for people who are dying unprepared, but this is true for you. And at this time in your life, you should have a sense that you own a great treasure. A great rejoicing should fill your heart. A great satisfaction that you have come to this place. And you should expect that every benefit and every goodness will come to you because of the joyousness of your heart. If you truly knew what potential were in store for you in the bardo state, what were yours, you would die laughing and singing. Laughing and singing. If you could understand that at last you will have the opportunity to see your own true face. They'd have to knock you down to keep you from dying right away. I'd have to hold on to your foot. You'd be going right now. That at last you have this opportunity to meet with your nature. So if you understood death, you would welcome death, you would die smiling, laughing, singing. There would not be a moment's hesitation. Just as His Holiness the Karmapa died, just as can't think of his name. I told you a story about him the other day. Kala Rinpoche. Just as Kala Rinpoche died. Sort of cheerful, like a little kid. Time to go. Got my suitcase. You know? That kind of idea, that would be the way that you die. Happy. Even thinking that you are a wandering child who has been wandering through the mists of samsara, and now in your death, the mists will be cleared and you will see the face of your mother and you will drink the nectar of liberation. You should think like that. So happy. So happy. These tears of joy are what you should die with, and that is the proper and best and most auspicious preparation for the time of your death. And it's true. It's true. You know, it's a kind of a joke amongst lamas. The students will give them these prayers, you know, they'll say, "Oh, Lama, stay in the world forever. Oh, Lama, live to be 120. And the lamas are going, "Yeah, I guess that's what you want, isn't it?" Okay, 120, well, would you take 75? You know, can we negotiate here? Because, you know, the lamas don't have that attitude about death. The lamas are here, we're working, we're with you, we are in the smoking room with you, but the lamas would much rather see the face of their mother, would much rather experience that non-dual reality would much rather not be in samsara. And if you knew and understood that, you would feel exactly the same way. Exactly. So here is your opportunity, and you should look forward to your death more than you looked forward to any 2 weeks at the beach ever in your life. Because it is a wonderful time, and that is one way to prepare for death. At the time of your death, you should, again, you have said goodbye to your family. You should not make them feel bad. You should practice restitution. You should fess up to all of your neuroses. If you have really not been as kind and giving to certain people, make it right. Find a way to make it right. Even if you can't feel the love, even if it's difficult for you, find the words. Give a gift. Do something that satisfies you and helps you to feel that you have done your best, because you will proceed with a great deal of confidence if you have done your very best. And it will change you. And it will make you, in a way, more pure and more honest. So complete your tasks. And then, as you are turning towards the actual moment, you're ready, you are prepared, you are happy, you're looking forward to your 2 weeks at the beach. You are looking forward to seeing your mother again. You are looking forward to the rest and the completion of a mind free of duality. You are practicing, you are remembering all the things that you have taught. You're taking the words of your teacher, to heart, as you have never done before. Because now you people are lucky. You have the motivation that the others do not have. You must take the words of your teacher to heart, and the others will not be able to do it as well as you do. Because it is the nature of the human condition that we don't do it until we've got a kick in the butt. And that is the ultimate kick in the butt, that you know you need to prepare. So now you are taking the words of your teacher to heart. You are literally filled with the consolation and the Vajra courage that your teacher has given you. Plus you have practiced, you are prepared, you are remembering to yourself about the white light, about the red light, about the black and clear path. You are remembering what their significance is and what to do and what not to do. And you are remembering the different subtle elements. And you are thinking about all of these things, and you have continued even perhaps to research on your own some of the many books about the Bardo and Poa state, which have even more descriptions of the possible circumstances that one might encounter. So you feel that you have Vajra courage, and you are convinced that this is the best shot that you have ever had. But most of all, first and foremost, in order to prepare for the moment of death, you practice devotion. Practice relying on your teacher. You say to yourself again and again and again, although while it is true, and it will cause concern in my mind, that I have not yet crossed the ocean of suffering successfully, my teacher has done so, and has done so many times, and therefore is an appropriate and confident guide. And so I will rely on my teacher, because this auspicious circumstance has occurred, this catalytical and constructive event has occurred, I will rely on my teacher, and my teacher is here with me, and I will taste that nectar in this very lifetime due to the condition of having found my root guru. And so we think like that. We actually think like that I am prepared as never before. Before you went into that dark room with all the obstacles and the furniture and you couldn't see anything, you went into that dark room with your eyes closed, and you stumbled, and you hurt yourself. Like any child, you fell down, scraped your knees, picked yourself up, fell again. And it's always been like that, helpless, uncontrolled. And that is the way we've stumbled through samsara before. But now, in this time, it is as though our Lama has come, has taken us by the hand, has switched on the lights for us, and even, in the case of practicing Poa with us, has cleared a path and moved away the many obstacles that block our exit out of the appropriate door. And so now we feel the difference in our feeling, like, oh no, I have to go into this dark room, and if it's all men there, and I'm really scared, I don't know what's happening. So that would be one way that we would consider if we were not prepared. But if we are prepared, we would think, now I'm going to go through this room. It's true there are many obstacles in there, but my eyes are open. I know that I should look for certain things. And most of all, my Lama is here and has turned on the lights and is walking through this door with me, has guided me. And so you rely on the guidance of your teacher, which you have not had before during the course of your death, but now that you do have. So these are the ways in which you prepare yourself. Then at the very moment, you're proceeding with confidence and with happiness. Ideally, you would arrange for someone to be with you who can talk to you properly at the time of your death. The talking is important, and this should happen whether you are in coma or not, whether you appear to be responding or not. That doesn't matter. That should continue to happen. Ideally, it would be your guru, and certainly I will be available if circumstances permit, and I can be there at the time of your death. That means to say there's not a snowstorm keeping me away, or you don't decide to go toes up in another country or something like that where I can't easily get to you, or there isn't enough time, whatever. I will come to you. I will definitely, physically, for real, come to you and be at your bedside with you, and I will bring foreordained with me, and that is definitely something that will happen, and that is your good fortune. You have that opportunity. However, if it does not happen, if you do not die until after I have gone, or if some kind of circumstance comes like that, still the ideal circumstance is to have a trained Lhamo with you, but in your mind you should remain confident of and fixated on your own root guru, that even if there is another Lama with you, you should think, in fact, it appears as another Lama, but it is my own root guru who has promised to guide me through the bardo. So you should think like that. Never abandon the idea of your own root guru, who is the very root of your mind, guiding you through the bardo. There is no one else better equipped to do that. And I'm not saying that in a way that I am bragging on myself. This is, if your root guru was someone else who were qualified, there would be no one else more qualified for you. That's just how it goes. And one of the saddest delusions is that some students cannot recognize their root guru. They keep insisting on someone else, or they simply will not commit. They simply cannot recognize their root guru. And that is the very saddest obstacle that one can have. It's like having a dish of food right in front of you, and it's delicious, and it's nourishing, and you're starving to death, and you desperately need it, but you have only it's a soup, you see, and it's very nourishing, and you only have a slotted spoon, and you can't get it in your mouth. Like that. So it would be like that. Now, about the physical need to have your Lama there. At the time of your death, if you have your Lama there, that's fine. The Lama will know what to do. But if there is no Lama there, and there is only someone else at the time of your death, and as a backup, you should train someone else in the same way that mothers-to-be train someone to be with them during their birth. You know, the birth classes, how they'll train with a partner for natural birth. I don't know if you ever heard about that before, but that will happen. You should also have a partner who will help you die, because dying is very important. The condition of dying is very important, and here's what the partner should do. They should talk to you. When the outer breathing slows down and you're looking for signs like a very small sip of the intake of air and a larger and more sort of rattling or noisy outlet of air. It's a kind of thing. There's more outlet than there is intake. That is an indication that the breath will stop soon. Or if there is an obvious rattling or rasping, that is another indication that the breath will stop soon. As the breath begins to stop, you begin to talk to the person and you say, remember, you're not touching them. Do not hold their hand. Do not hold their hand. You stand next to them in a very calm voice. You say, you're dying now. There's nothing to be afraid of. Be happy that soon you will see your true face. You're dying now. Do not run. Do not be afraid. Have faith. I'm with you. Like that. And then, as the breath begins to stop, you should think, look for the red light. The white light. The blinding white light. That light which is so powerful and so strong. Even though it is more powerful and more brilliant and more strong than you are used to, do not be afraid of that light. Walk toward the light. Do not be afraid of the light. Know that the light is your guru. Go to the light. Go toward it. Become one with the light. See the light as your own mind. It is none other than your own mind. And you would talk like that. And then you wait a little bit, and then, of course, the Lama would know intuitively, but an ordinary person wouldn't know. They would simply have to wing it. And then you would talk very sort of monotone, almost gently, no spikes in the voice, because if you talk like, soon you're going to see the white light, that would be frightening to the person. They will register a different, but they won't know what the difference is. They will be frightened by that. So you should talk very soothingly and caressingly. The bedside manner is important here. So soothingly and caressingly you say, now you can expect, you will see the red light. The red light is the Dakini nature. You should go toward the red light. I know it is unfamiliar, but in fact it is your own mind. Do not be afraid of the red light. You're dying now. You should go to the red light. And you talk to them very softly like that. And then you talk to them about the clear and black light. And encourage them to see the face of their own primordial wisdom nature. And give them commands like, now, for the sake of sentient beings, meditate on your true face. Now, for the sake of sentient beings, awaken to your primordial wisdom nature. And you would give a command like that. But a soft command, not like, do it now. A very soft command. And you would encourage them, do not fall asleep. Do not go away. Do not hide your eyes. But meditate now for the sake of sentient beings. And then if you feel that has not happened, that has not been successful, then, at that time, in fact, even if you feel that there has been some resonance or the person has responded to you in some way, and of course an ordinary practitioner would not know. They might have an intuitive feeling, but they would not know, but a Lama would know. Then at that time, when the actual outer breath stops, at that time we begin to practice Poa for the person who is dying. Internally, the person is already having the experiences, and they're remembering the teachings of Poa, and the only thing that they will be able to do at that time, they're not going to be in a position at that moment to visualize a green disc. They are not going to be visualizing a clear tube. They are not going to see any dakinis. And they are not going to be visualizing Amitabha above the crown of the head. So your whole practice is not going to be used in that way at that time. But the notion to transfer the consciousness from ignorance to bliss, and the aptitude to do so through the central channel having been cleared, and the notion of what one sees as being a display of one's own mind, and also the notion of safety in Amitabha, and the notion of going in the way that we are going, these things will be operational. And so at that time, when the person is they're a little drunk and a little bit awakened by your talking and by their previous training, and they are struggling to recognize and struggling to be aware. They are trying to remain stable in that way. You at that time can begin to practice Poa with them, and at that time the Lama will actually meet with the person in their state and will escort them, will exit them, will take them out the central channel through the top of the head, through the practice of Poa, and will escort them to Dewa Chen. If the Lama is there, that will happen. But again, you must understand that the conditions necessary for this to happen, the Lama has to be qualified, and there is one thing you should know, that no matter how qualified the Lama is, it is very difficult to do if the person has not taken responsibility for setting up the conditions beforehand through their practice, their devotion, their intention, that sort of thing. That is absolutely necessary. They must set up the conditions beforehand, and if that condition is set up, then the Lama is also qualified, then good result can be expected. Now, in some cases, the Lama is also supremely qualified and has the karma, basically, has the ability, through having practiced Poa for others so many times, and through their specific practice, their specific habitual tendency or mindset, you could say, or the particular qualities that they have given rise to is the best way to say it. That Lama may very well be so expert at being able to practice Poa and the relationship between oneself and the Lama may be such that even if you have not prepared well, there may be the circumstances in which the Lama can escort one to Dewa Chen. There are many stories of Lamas who have even escorted sentient beings to Dewa Chen through killing them. There was actually one story of a great bodhisattva who manifested as a butcher that was responsible for killing animals for meat. And even though he was a butcher, he also had great bodhicitta and wisdom, and had somehow remembered, even though he had no official training, he had the innate confidence and courage and vajra ability to be able to liberate beings through practicing poa with them. And so while it was his job to kill the animals, and the butcher would have to do that anyway, still it was a bodhisattva that was born as a butcher. And as he killed the animals, and it was their karma to die at that time, they would have been killed by some other butcher, he was able to kill them and liberate them. And so during the course of his life, he was able to liberate through his practice in previous lifetimes many uncountable tens of thousands of animals. And so that sort of thing does happen according to the particular karma of the situation. But in your case, you should think that it is stupid to take the chance of not preparing. Just about as dumb as you can get. So you don't want to do that. It's stupid for anybody to just rely on dumb luck or rely on karma ripening when you have no basis on which to know how karma is going to ripen. So you should prepare. The next thing that should happen is, since you have given yourself the opportunity of Vajra courage through practice, and you've set yourself up, and the Lama is there, and the Lama is speaking to you softly, and the Lama has practiced poa at the appropriate time, you should also think that there are other conditions that will help to facilitate peacefulness. And that is a peaceful environment. Those people who are around you, who are your loved ones, they will be inclined to grieve, and if they are dramatic people or very emotional people or very, very loving people that have attached to you in a certain way through their pain and their not understanding of the event that is occurring to you, their temptation will be to grieve copiously. You must talk to them and ask them, please, to try not to do that. Please train them in a way to be happy for you. Try to teach them and instruct them of what your expectations are and how you are looking forward to this moment, and ask them to look forward with you. Ask them to be a true friend for you at this time. And it will be difficult for them, and you tell them that you know that, and you tell them that you are sympathetic, and you tell them that you know in a way it's harder for them because they are the ones who will constantly be remembering that they are losing you. And yet you must ask them at any rate, please help me with this. Whatever I have done for you in life, however kind I have been to you in life, this is what I ask from you in return. Because the heavy emotions will be heard and felt by the person who is dying, and it will keep them from being able to practice well. They will be distracted. It will give rise to emotions arising in them that will keep them unable to see. They will tend to go towards the stimulation of the realms, the different lights and patterns that appear in the bardo of the realms that are strongly associated with emotion, such as the hell realms associated with hatred, and the hungry ghost realms associated with grasping and extreme longing and greed and self-interest. Those kinds of rebirths are likely if we are surrounded by strong emotionalism and are unable to distinguish what is happening in the bardo. What we need is a very peaceful environment. Sounds should be kept to a minimum other than the voice of the person who is guiding you. Sounds should be kept to a minimum. And if there is no one there to guide you, if the person absolutely does not feel competent to guide you, ask someone to be there simply who will recite mantra for you. Just hear mantra in your ear. Just go into your next experience with the experience of mantra in your ear. That would also be beneficial. And the Lama will also do that at the appropriate time. But please ask your family to give you this gift, to give you this kindness. Please ask them to wait until the time that you are safe. You're not asking them to suppress their grief. You're asking them to be happy with you for a period of time while you are changing. And then later, they can do what they need to do. But they should know that you are proceeding in confidence and you wish for them to help you. You should ask also that your body not be disturbed for at least 3.5 days. And you can arrange for that. You have to do it ahead of time, and you have to ask, you have to get notarization, you have to fill out legal forms. You can do it. Hospitals will do it even, if they have the room, if you have that kind of opportunity. And certainly families can do it. And it is, if the body is undisturbed for 3 days, you will have a much better chance of moving through the bardo and not having to go through the bardo of becoming, but being able to stop before the time that you actually go through the bardo of becoming. But at any rate, you certainly will not have the horrible, traumatic discomfort and distraction that a person experiences when their body is being handled and they are still attached to it. That is not good. Furthermore, at the time of your passing, no one should touch your body except for on one place. And I've mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. It is at the crown chakra, the crown energy center. And that is where the hair swirls. And here a person can tap you with their fingernail to draw your attention to that place so that consciousness will exit through that portal. Because that is the portal that will bring you to the auspicious rebirth that you desire. So you will feel this, even though you have no senses in the way that you normally do. You will still feel this. And so you want that to be stimulated that way, or by having a little tuft of hair right there, just pulled. I can see that some of you may have a little trouble with that. So either tapping or pulling. So pulling like that. And it's all right if it's, you may think, ow, that must hurt. It won't hurt the person who's dying, but it will draw their attention, but they won't feel pain. They won't like rise up from the dead and knock it off! Pulling my hair when I'm dying, that's not right. So, so that actually will not be uncomfortable at all. And I've told you already about supporting the body with pillows and making them feel nested and secure. You can put hot compresses around the hands and feet, near the hands and feet, not touching the hands and feet. Because again, the sensation of direct hot on the body will draw the person's attention there. Whereas if there is simply warmth, like for instance you might have like a heating pad buried under a few layers of something where gentle warmth will come up. And they will feel that, and that will help them to feel comforted and secure. You may also have, while the person is able to ask for it, they will sometimes feel as the water element begins to dissolve, they will sometimes feel dryness around the mouth, scumminess on the teeth, and the teeth will be real scummy and kind of, you can see that. And the mouth will be very dry, and that will be extremely uncomfortable for them, and in some cases may actually draw attention to the mouth, which they do not wish to enter out of. So what you may do is, while the person can still ask for it, that means they're in no danger of leaving right then. While the person can still ask for it, you can have a wet cloth there, and you can dab their mouths, maybe. You can sponge their teeth a little bit, give them a few drops of water. They don't want to swallow, because you may have a reverse reaction of maybe a little choking. Sometimes everything's not working right at that time. So just a few drops in the mouth, just careful. Just a few drops to give some liquid, just a little water in the mouth to make them more comfortable. But once the person has really gone into, the breathing is stopping, you can tell they're going, stay away from the mouth. Leave it alone. That should be done beforehand, but it will make them comfortable up until that time, if it can be skillfully done. And then also you want to make sure that it is nice if the room is sort of semi-dark in a relaxed way, sort of twilight-like. If you could make it sort of twilight where it's not dark and scary, but neither are there bright lights in different places. Because remember, they're going to be seeing things. They don't want to have mixed visualizations, mixed visions. So no bright lights. You want to veil the windows if it's daytime, and if there are lights in the room, make sure they're dimmer lights, no overhead lights. If you're in a kind of situation where there's like a hospital, this big neon light running over the person, turn it off. Give them a lamp, a softer lamp near them. Womb-like is the thing to think of there. Quiet, peacefulness, no loud noises. In hospitals, they're likely to hear things clanging and machines being rolled around and doctors barking orders. That is not appropriate. You should be in an environment where you have control. And so it should be quiet and peaceful and relaxed in that way. And the person should not hear other things. The temptation would be with dying with music. You might think, oh, that would be a nice way to go. No, because you want to concentrate. You do not want to enjoy anything sensually at that time. You want to concentrate and be really firm. That would be like trying to give let's say, That would be like trying to give a speech while someone else was reciting something else or counting numbers or singing songs right next to you. You would forget what you were saying. You would lose track. So you don't want to do that. You want to rely on the Lama's voice, the Lama's words, that kind of comfort. So in general, a comfortable, warm, secure, nurturing environment, the same respect that you would have for a newborn infant who is being born into a traumatic and confusing environment, this is the same respect you will have for the dying person who is also being reborn or born again into a dramatic, confusing environment, unfamiliar environment. So it's the same kind of caretaking and love and respect and that sort of thing. Okay? So that is helpful to guide you as a way to help you guide others as they are practicing their poa, as they are getting ready to die. Now, here it is 5 to 3, and I had planned on starting familiarizing you with the main points on Ngundro so that you can understand what it is you're taking into the bardo with you. We have just about 7 minutes, so I'm going to at least start the thought that will precede the next teaching session that we will have. And then I will speak on this very issue. I promise I will not get waylaid. I will speak on Ngundro the next time. But it is important to learn how to die. These things that I'm telling you are important. They seem like little details, but they are extremely important. Now, remember I told you that you will not take as much as one sesame seed into your next life with you. Not one element of your materialistic life will you take into you other than the habit of your mind, your habitual tendencies. And these are on a deep and subtle level. And also you will take into the bardo your preparation and experience and your practice, the merit that you have gained. Which is why we practice Ngundro in association with bardo. You must think, well, you know, in the spirit of getting to the point, you know, why do we have to go through this endless long book in order to get to this part, which is really what we're doing? You must wonder why this is. I mean, in the spirit of getting to the point, let's get on with it. Well, I'll tell you how it is. What you are doing here in Ngundro, obviously, you are going through Ngundro in a very brief way, in a very condensed way. Generally, in the life of a practitioner, there is the opportunity to do one complete Ngundro. In every cycle of revelation, there is a Ngundro or preliminary practice. And in most cases, unless the Lama gives another directive, that is the very first practice that you do, is the practice of Ngundro. In my case, because we are Westerners and we have no familiarity with practice, I ask practitioners to do 10,000 repetitions of the 7-line prayer first, and that actually helps you to prepare for preliminary practice. Even better, it does, and it helps to remove obstacles. So, we are given this practice of Ngundro. Now, in Ngundro, it is considered that since beginningless time, we have accumulated so many repetitions of non-virtuous behavior, and that mostly we have done it through ignorance. Because like all sentient beings, we have been trying to be happy, but we don't know how to create the causes of happiness. We only think of happiness in a superficial way. We think, oh, if this was maybe a glass of bourbon instead of a glass of water, I could be really happy by the time it's done. Or we think, oh, if I go out and live a life of, prosperity and happiness and you just stay at the beach all the time, blah, 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 then I will be happy. Or if I take exactly what I want and think me first, then I will be happy. And so sentient beings have delusions like that, and they do not understand what actually makes them happy. They do not understand that the imprint of virtuous behavior and generosity and those acts of virtue actually are the very seeds or causes that create happy fulfillment. A happy seed will create a happy result. A happy cause will create a happy result. The elements necessary for happiness, such as clarity, good feeling in the body, speech, and mind, the end of loneliness, freedom from poverty, freedom from hunger, freedom from war, these conditions that create happiness, freedom from neuroses, These are all brought about and exclusively brought about through virtuous activity, through accumulating merit and virtuous activity. These are the conditions that bring about happiness. But we don't know that, so we keep wanting happiness and trying to get happiness by forcing our environment to submit, not understanding that our environment is only and merely a display of our own mental habitual tendencies. So whatever comes to us seemingly from the outside is actually what is on the inside, and we categorically refuse to change what's on the inside. And of course that is our big mistake. So since time out of mind, we have been wandering hopelessly, making these mistakes repeatedly, and each mistake that we make is additional cause for suffering. Every time we engage in non-virtuous activity, or we are selfish, or we think me first, or we climb on top of somebody else, or we take what we want without regard for others, or we whine and we complain and we carry on and blah blah and all this kind of stuff that sentient beings do, or we think party, nothing else, wasting our lives. These kinds of things are the things that produce more suffering in the future, and now we are suffering and we don't know why. That's all that we have. So preliminary practice tells us that in order to continue on the path, in order to even get to the practices that will create enlightenment, we have to first ensure that we have enough merit to stay on the path without falling off the path. And secondarily, we have to create the kind of spaciousness in our mind that habitual tendency focused on virtuous activity will create, so that we can continue, so that we can have result. So that is the point of preliminary practice. Within the context of preliminary practice, there are certain elements that are very strong, and two of them are, first of all, purification. Second of all, the accumulation of virtuous activity, the accumulation of merit. These are two very strong elements that happen during the practice of Ngundro. Generally, in general Ngundro, there are five main accumulations, five things that one accumulates. That is the refuge practice, and within the refuge practice there are numbers of prostrations to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha that we have to do. There is the Vajrasattva practice, and there are numbers of repetitions of this Vajrasattva mantra, or 100-syllable mantra, that we have to do. And that Vajrasattva practice is associated with purification. There is the practice of, let's see, what's the next one? I forget. Bodhicitta. I think bodhicitta is actually next after refuge. So there's refuge, and there's bodhicitta, and then Vajrasattva. Bodhicitta is actually the giving rise, or the giving birth to, giving rise to the mind of enlightenment, which is inseparable from and the same as the mind of compassion. And that is the very antidote that will overcome, through many repetitions of giving rise to the bodhicitta, that is the antidote that will outweigh, eventually, and overcome our self-absorption, which has forced us into a deep well of neuroses and loneliness. And it is only through self-absorption that our only being focused on ourself and our needs, and forcing the world to revolve around us. It is that self-absorption that is such a strong non-virtue that has forced us into a deep well of neuroses, depression, and loneliness, and confusion. And so it is the practice of bodhicitta that purifies that. Then comes the Vajrasattva, which I have described, and then after that is the accumulation of mandala offering. And mandala offering is an antidote to selfishness, pure and simple. That in our self-absorption we have not given away our possessions to those who are less poor, less fortunate than us. We have found that it is acceptable to be stuffed full of rich and delicious food in a world where not everybody eats. We have found that it is acceptable to know that there are children and other beings who are poor and helpless and unable to, don't even have a roof over their heads. And in the same world where we have beautiful roofs over our heads and central heat and cars to drive in and all those things. And due to our lack of awareness that this very condition that we have not given to the poor, we have not offered to others, we have kept our possessions so tightly prized, and our minds take such delight every time we get into our cars. You know, we say, oh, my car, my good car. I love my car, you know. I mean, our house, I love my house. This is my house. You know, I take such pride in it. I redecorate it. I move the couch twice a week, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And it's that kind of mental, heavy graspingness in the face of the suffering of other sentient beings that causes our suffering now and will in the future cause our extreme poverty and hunger. And so we wish to purify that through visualizing our entire surrounding environment, all of the world, all of the 3,000 myriads of universe, every particle of material wealth that we could possibly partake of, all of the jewels, all of the food, all of the scent, everything that's good, everything in the world, all objects. And in our practice, we form it into a mandala of offering, like a celestial mandala, heaps of offerings. And we think also our own body becomes the mandala offering. Our very bones, our very flesh, our very fat, our very liquids, all are transformed into celestial substance. And these things we offer to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and we pray that they will use this value and use this merit in order to benefit sentient beings. And so this is the disciples' offering to the three precious jewels. It is called mandala offering, and we do many repetitions of that to antidote the suffering of non-virtue. And then the last accumulation in Gundro is the accumulation of Guru Yoga. And I don't think I have to tell you again how important devotion or Guru Yoga is going to be in the bardo. You want to practice your Guru Yoga. This is something you want to really invest in. It will absolutely change the way you see the path, the way you practice the path, the way the path works for you. It is a technique that makes possible the necessary conditions by which you will walk through the door of liberation. And Guru Yoga actually awakens one to the nature of the Guru, which is inseparable from one's own nature, so that literally one ultimately, while taking refuge in the Guru, learns to take refuge in one's own ultimate nature, because they are indistinguishable from one another. Learns through devotion to recognize one's own nature, one's own face. Learns to see that that one that seems to be outside, who is our friend and our guide and our mentor, is in fact our own nature, appearing in the mud and delusion of samsara in order to create the light that guides us to liberation, the light home. It is nothing other than ourselves. There is no one to reject, no one to accept, nothing to judge, nothing to feel separate from. It is only our own nature speaking to us as though across a great canyon. And so this is what we learn through Guru Yoga. And it is in doing that that we accumulate the actual connection by which the Lhamo will be able to help in the liberation in the bardo. And furthermore, we create within ourselves the handle by which we can open the door of liberation. Because again, that handle does open from the inside, your side. So these are the accumulations that prepare us for our practice. Now in traditional Ngundro, that is done as a preparation for a life of practice. Each of those accumulations are done 100,000 times. That's 100,000 repetitions of prostrations, 100,000 repetitions of the bodhicitta vow, the giving rise of the bodhicitta, 100,000 repetitions of the 100-syllable or Vajrasattva mantra, 100,000 repetitions of mandala offering, and 100,000 repetitions of each of the syllables of the Vajra Guru mantra, so that in the end it comes out to, what is it, 350,000? Oh, that's right, it's 1,200,000, that's right. 350,000 is the amount I have so far. So in the end, and nobody expects you to do it in order to finish. Technically, you're finished with Ngundro when you've done 100,000 repetitions of your Guru Yoga. But it is considered that you continue practicing Ngundro until you do 1,000,000 repetitions 1 million, 1.2 million, 1.2 million repetitions of the Vajraguru mantra, and that should be a goal that you would have by the end of your life, that you would do 1.2 million Vajraguru mantras. So even though while it's considered you're technically finished with Mundro, if you've done 100,000 repetitions, you still are required to continue. 100,000 repetitions. Well, obviously, if you plan on practicing your ultimate poa anytime soon, you're not going to have a time to do 500,000 repetitions of your Mundro before you die. In fact, you may not even have time to even glance at this book or even look through this book. It may be that your death is such that you're not able to open a book for some time before it comes your time to go. But still, you are relying on this book. You are relying on this book for the conditions that it creates within your mind as you're preparing for POA. First of all, you are accumulating enough merit here to clear the obstacles associated with your death, so that you will die well and nobly and with the proper circumstances. All conditions being appropriate, you could have a bang-up great time if everything works out well. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make everything work out well. You are looking to accomplish some purification. You are looking to accomplish some virtuous activity in preparation for the time of death. You're looking to clear the obstacles. You're looking to prepare. You're looking to do you're looking to orient the mind towards the conditions that are necessary in order to truly renounce cyclic existence, which you must do at the moment of death. And so when you read the thoughts that turn the mind, as you do in your Mundro, and you begin to practice taking refuge, you practice giving rise to the bodhicitta, accomplishing, making vows that you will benefit sentient beings to the best of your ability, you are in fact turning your mind away from the world and beginning the process of looking toward the experience of liberation as being the ultimate desirable experience and the only one worth moving toward. And this is the way that you are orienting yourself through the use of the Mundro. And so it is a preparation, it is an orientation, it is a teaching, it is a formalizing, it is a making strong what is now weak, but it is also a smoothing of the way. It is a preparation. It is a cleaning out. It is a gathering together of virtue and merit necessary in order to facilitate that not only will you do this practice well, but you will also prepare the mind so that when the ultimate POA actually occurs, that practice will go well, and that your death will not so much be a leaving and a dying as it will be a practice and an entrance into the door of liberation. So this is what we are aiming for, and this is why we prepare, and this is why we accomplish, and that is where we are going. All of us, we are all, without exception, going to have the same experience. And that's why it's good that we are all preparing together.
So thank you also very much for joining, and I'm sorry for the delay in starting. To just let you know some of the things that go on here, and you probably already know it if you've been watching this whole series. First of all of these teachings will be archived on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch. I believe they're also on Facebook, so that's great. The teachings Jetsunma's teachings are on Wednesdays at 7:30 on YouTube, and Sundays at 11, both. The meditation classes that we have are on Saturdays and Sundays, also on YouTube at 10 to 10:45 in the morning. Yeah, Saturdays and Sundays. We have a soak offering every day, Monday through Friday at 5:30, Saturdays at noon, and Sundays at 2. Those are all on Zoom. And if you go on our if you go on our website, you'll find them under events on the calendar. And if you click on the calendar event, it will come up and tell you how to, what Zoom channel and how to get there. We do have a Medicine Buddha practice as well. It's a short one. It's in English. It's on Facebook every evening at 7 p.m. And it's just wonderful to get in, join that practice. It is literally only about 15 or 20 minutes long, and you can put in your dedications, and it's a way of really connecting with people and connecting with those of your friends and known people who have passed away or who just need prayers for health and well-being. So all of those available on a regular basis all the time. The Beginning Buddhist series that Atira teaches on Sundays on YouTube is on temporary hiatus. I believe she will be resuming at the end of summer. So we look forward to more of her teachings then. Meanwhile, should you want to make an offering on the occasion of receiving the teaching to Jetsunma directly, you can do that. I've put this in chat. Her PayPal address is jetsunmagift@gmail.com. So all of that is quite a mouthful and quite a load. We are always happy to have you join us, and we're always happy to have you come to the temple. The outside is open dawn to dusk every day, and it's just beautiful, and you are so most welcome. There are stupas, there are statues, there are altars, there are places to make offerings, and there are some wonderful animals that would love to see you and be petted. So all of that available here at the temple if you're in the area. And we hope to have the inside open soon. So please join us in all ways. Any questions you have, you can email us at kpc@tara.org. So see you next time online. Take care.